Test. Hey, Mr. Mayor, can you mic check for me, please?
I'm here.
All right, we got you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Preach, brother. I'm gonna start bringing my own chair.
There you go. 6 p.m.
All right, it's 6 p.m., February 3rd. Call to order the Business and Development Services Committee. Committee members are all present. Mr. Matney, Mr. Allgood, myself, Seth Duncan, Ms. Miller, heads of state in the audience. All right. First order of business or second order of business is public comment. None. All right. Reading and approval of minutes.
Move for approval is presented.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign, hearing none. We're good. Reports and communications from city officers. Mr. Deerhog.
Good evening, committee members. While Seth is pulling up our annual report, I can give you some monthly highlights. We just finished compiling our monthly report today. What we saw was the number of residential permits rebounded in a big way in January of 2025. We issued 78 permits for new homes, which is more than we did in any month in 2024. DR Horton led the way with 39 new permits as they opened the second phase of Chestnut Ridge, which is over between Standing Springs and Fork Shoals Road. We also permitted 3 new construction projects in January. This included for Crunch Fitness to begin construction inside the former Bilo supermarket. So far to date, they've been operating on a demo permit. So now they finally got their building permit. LifeMD is set to begin renovations of a space in Brookfield Park. And the Mauldin Urgent Care got a permit to start upfitting the shell structure that you've seen being erected at the site of the former Salvation Army. Also, building on our success in 2024, the percentage of inspections that pass continues to climb. That rate went up to over 73% for January. January kicks off the business license renewal season. So far, 26 business already got a jump start on renewing their licenses for 2025. And we saw a handful of businesses open their doors in January, including Alicia Pediatrics, Angelic Hands of the Carolinas, Smith & Jones Law, Summer Moon Coffee, Total Property Management, and True Line Federal Credit Union. All right, so any questions on the monthly report before I jump into our annual report? All right, let's do it. So I'm pleased to present to you a report for last year for the Business Development Services Department. We had 40 acres annexed into the city. The majority of that was the land for the Metro Connects headquarters out on West Butler Road. We saw a slight dip in residential permits, but I want to make sure that we recognize the context that we are still in a historic era of residential development in the city of Mauldin. even though our numbers dipped last year, that was still the second most residential permits that we have ever issued in the city. So I don't want you to necessarily sound the bells that we've stopped growing. We're continuing to grow. And you'll see the same pattern for, uh-oh. Seth, you said this was going to work. There we go. You saw the same trend for new home permits. And we're projecting that we're going to see a steady number of new permits in 2025 from what we did this last year. Okay, he's got it for me. Our new home sales, the number I want you to focus in on here is the price per square foot for new homes that were constructed and sold. It's kind of interesting there to see that they're kind of fluctuating a little bit from year to year, but the overall takeaway from that is they're relatively consistent and staying right around that same $160 per square foot mark. Our resale of existing homes, we've seen over the last 3 years now that price per square feet to continue to increase each year after year. That's for detached homes. The next slide shows for townhomes. Similar thing here on the townhomes or new townhome sales side. A little fluctuation going there, but we're still seeing that stay right around that $160 per square foot range. But resales of existing townhomes, just like with the detached homes, we're seeing those price points per square foot continue to increase year after year. Next slide, we'll look at our building inspections. We saw a little dip in our building inspections for 2024, and really we largely attribute that to the success that we've seen the builders take on passing their inspections. So their big increase in passing inspections has been the major contributor to this little dip in the number of building inspections. Because they are being more diligent about being ready to pass their inspections, we don't have to go back out there second and third time to re-inspect the same stuff over and over again. Next slide, we'll look at our commercial permits. It was a record year for commercial permits in the city of Mauldin. That's the most that we have knowledge of that we've ever issued. And you go to the next slide here, we just kind of highlight, here's some of the businesses that we permitted in 2024. Some of these may look familiar, some may not look familiar. If you have any questions about any of these, let me know. But there's a bunch. Same thing translated over to business licenses. Again, it was a record year for us in terms of the number of business licenses that we issued. I don't know yet if that will translate to the revenue side, but when we look at the next slide here, we'll see that we saw a big spike in the number of new licenses that were issued in 2024. That made up 24% of all the licenses that we issued. In years prior, we were kind of steady around 16% of our licenses were for new licenses. So that's a big jump, going up about a third there in terms of percentage of new licenses. And then this last slide just shows the breakdown of how many of those business licenses are inside the city versus outside. And that largely has been consistent with the previous year. So that concludes the highlights on the annual report that I've prepared for you tonight. Any questions about that before I jump into one last item?
So you mentioned that the passing of building inspections, going from 17,000 to 23,000. What do you believe led to them being able to pass on first inspection? What was the underlying reason?
Well, we brought on board our own in-house inspectors, and that made a huge difference. We have inspectors now who care about these builders and the relationship that they have with them, and take the time with them where possible to walk through things with them. Whereas before, this was being contracted out, and we had guys coming in. Sometimes it was different guys every day. And they weren't establishing those relationships. They weren't making face with the builders and contractors out there. So I think that's a huge difference for our department now.
And the talk to us a little bit about the business licenses. I mean, that seemed like it was a huge jump too. So is that just a matter of following the residents in terms of the businesses that are coming to the area? They're following the fact that we're a growing community?
That's what I would believe it is. I think as we're seeing more rooftops come to the city, we're attracting more businesses. We've seen obviously a number of new businesses come out to Bridgeway Station, so that's a big boon to have a brand new commercial area where we're bringing in businesses. But I think we're finding too that in a lot of our shopping center areas that there's just not very many spaces available for lease. The occupancy rate, it seems like in many of our shopping centers are doing quite well.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay. The last thing I had on the report tonight was just an update about, there it is, on some properties that have been presenting some issues. They've not been kept up very well. One in particular is on Carlton Drive, and the other one's at the corner of Shaver and East Butler. And right now, we've got a line of communication open with those property owners, so we're trying to work with them on remediation of bringing their properties up so that they're more sightly and not a drag on the community. But building official is trying to keep them going with some efforts, and if we see that stops, we might be coming back to you all and let you know what we need to probably look at as far as next steps there. But we hope these property owners will take care of their properties and get them in the shape they need to be.
Do we have do you know what the underlying issues are? I mean, are there specific things leading to this?
Let me address or point that question to our building official. He knows about more specifics of the conditions of those properties and homes. So do you mind coming in answering that? This is Stephen Woods, our building official.
Evening.
Mr. Woods?
Just Stephen, please. The property at 123 Carlton basically was a fire that happened over 10 years ago due to electrical issues. Meter was pulled, home condemned. Owner basically just let it sit. She maintained the yard for a while, up until I'd say about the last 2 to 3 years. And this past summer, city had to take action due to the yard being just a disaster. Then when the hurricane came through, it did a number on the house, and it's open to the elements. Boxing gone, roof about to cave in. Well, this particular owner has been, for lack of a better phrase, ghosting us, not being in contact with us at all. We were finally able to get a hold of her. Codes enforcement officer was able to find a phone number, get a hold of a relative, get us in contact with her. I am currently working with her. I should be meeting with her this week to try to figure out what she wants to do. You guys may not know this about me. The last thing I want to do is condemn someone's home or a house. In this case, this house has gone way beyond repair, I believe. I'm hoping she's going to make the right decision, but it is her decision. 210 East Butler is basically just an old home that was it was a rental house for years, and the owner basically just doesn't want to do anything with it until somebody comes along and offers him an incredible amount of money for it. We've had in the past issues with people breaking in, gaining access to the house, tearing it up, using it as a party house. It's been secured several times, but currently is open and really, really needs to either A, be completely boarded up, or B, demoed. At this time, we're trying to at least get the owner, the current owner, to do that. And I'm hoping we've got letters out to them now. Hopefully get a response within the next couple of weeks and get something done with it. Any other questions?
In both these cases, are the owners local?
No. Well, local in the state of South Carolina, upstate, yes. Local to Mauldin, no. One lives in Easley, and the other one is in Ware Place. So, but hopefully, knock on wood, we can get this taken care of. We really haven't had this problem in the past. In the past, if we've had to condemn something, property owners been Johnny on the spot, getting it fixed, getting back in it, getting it opened back up. We've just got just a couple or a few right now that are being problem children. Thank you.
Unfinished business, none. New business, none. Public comment, none. All right, committee concerns. No concerns? What do we say on adjournment?
So moved. Second.
He had the motion, I had the second.
There you go.
One way or the other, we got a motion in a second. No, assuming no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
For the fastest.
Yeah, that's me. Is that me? Okay.
Where is it? All right, we're going to call the Recreation Committee meeting to order. It is currently 6:16. The records reflect that all three committee members are present, as well as our Recreation Director, Bart Comlander. Yes. First is public comment. Do we have any public comment online or in person? I do not see any. I see a head shaking no, so we'll proceed to reading approval of the minutes from November 4th, 2024. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted for November 4th, 2024.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Hear a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of approving of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Let's go to our Recreation Director for, it looks like, a year-end update for 2024.
Me to do it? Good evening, guys. Gotta go over some numbers with y'all. As you know, we have 3 divisions in the rec department. And which one is first? We're going recreation, is it sports center, senior center? All right, I'm gonna go to sports center. That's where I'm at.
Let's do what he wants to do.
Yeah, do you have that?
You're just bypassing shelters.
There we go.
Yeah. You should have it in your packet as well. It's a increase from last year. We keep steadily growing in the sports center area. We've added some classes. Mothers in Motion has been real successful beginning of the year. We've been really pushing that. And so, got any questions? Renee and Amanda has done a good job. Staff there is getting those folks into those new classes. I think that's helped increase our numbers.
So let me ask one quick question. I would have guessed, obviously incorrectly, that we would see the membership would be top level coming into the new year with all the New Year's resolutions, but here it looks like it's all in the summertime. Why is that?
A lot of those are students from college coming in. We get a lot of the younger folks when they're out in college, they come and join. We have usually we do a 3 months with them, and that's the most popular one because some people don't commit to a year, and we've been trying to clean that up a little bit. I think we got probably too many memberships in there, but that's the most popular one that we see. That's probably why you see that in summer. And also, too, you get a bit of a discount. And I'll talk about summer camp in a minute, but a lot of people join because they get a little bit of a discount if their kid comes to summer camp. Yes, sir. We'll move on to spring sports. Still increase in that. Basketball was probably this year we had over 600 kids. I just got through telling Mr. Allgood that we're running tonight. We're running 3 gyms, actually four gyms. You have a double gym at the sports center. You have Lead Academy that the city has rented, and also the senior center. So we got 4 locations, 4 games rolling whole time tonight. Usually Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays are our heavy nights, and we play a good bit all day on Saturday as well. But you have any questions about the spring sports or the increase in it?
It's awesome.
Senior Center continues to grow as well. We've done a lot of upgrades in there. You should be getting something by the end of the month of all the, Mr. Duncan got some state appropriated funds for that, and we do thank him for that. So those upgrades seem to help to tick up a little bit. Pickleball has really increased. Went by there today, and the parking lot was full. And so they do appreciate us closing that parking lot down during school time because they don't have anywhere to park. And so usually senior adults, they don't have anybody to complain to at home. So it's usually me or the staff, and that's one of the things that they've complained about. And so that's increased as well, and the staff up there has done well as too. So excuse me.
I have 2 questions on this one. First off, the senior center medical program, what is the medical program?
All right, so when you check in, each senior has whatever insurance they have. It pays a little bit each time. It may be $3 every time they check in that the city gets, and we keep up with it, and we bill the insurance company each at the end of the month for that.
Got it.
It's not a whole lot, but it's better than anything. And so we've got 3 or 4 that we contribute to that the city, and that's the same as the sports center.
And you mentioned pickleball with, obviously that's mostly indoors, I imagine, but I know we drew those lines outside on the asphalt. Have those been utilized yet?
A little bit, but they don't like being out there come June or July, August. And so, and now, but March and April, we'll start putting some out there, and they like it because it's not too hot. But when June, July rolls around, they won't be back inside where the AC's at. So,
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
yes, sir.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, the only one that I was going to actually comment on was the total rentals for their shelters and fields. Crushing it. You were doing fantastic.
Yeah,
City
I'm
Park
sorry. We probably did skip over that.
doubled.
Yes, sir. And the shelter, you see it down a little bit at probably the city center. That's because we're blocking off for the Amped Up Fridays. We don't want people to have to rent it and then have Amped Up Fridays. So that's down a little bit, probably from last year, and that's probably the reason why. And Sunset Park, you see the increase in that. That's because we're doing travel ball out there, and we have it. As soon as we get through with the rec, we start them out there pretty much every weekend. So they already reached out. Our first tournament would be February the 28th. I think that's March 1st. That's the first weekend they start travel ball. And I think Mr. Reynolds, you may know, but perfect game is the new folks in town, and U-Trip is still here, but Dominic owns Perfect Game, and he's been really well to work with, and they do anything I ask them to do. They clean up after themselves. Um, It's just, they've been good partners so far, and we don't sign a contract with them. It's, week to week or month to month is how we go with them, and I think that's how we need to keep it. But it's been a good revenue stream as well. We can still increase that, and that's the goal. Is that I think we're already at where we're projected to be with the rentals. So I think we can continue on growing that. We still got to July.
It's awesome.
June,
No,
so.
my perspective, I appreciate that because, I love seeing the parks filled and
Yeah.
especially if you're doing it with baseball or softball or football, whatever it is, because every fast food restaurant in 2 mile vicinity appreciates it also.
Correct, correct.
So
A lot
thank
of
you for
hip
your
burger
efforts there.
bags out there.
Your graph didn't do the numbers justice. So you doubled City Park and it's awesome. Good year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You guys keep stealing my stuff.
I think that's it on the rentals. Did y'all, I think I got everything covered. Shelters, I think I got everything pretty much on as far as the numbers from last year.
So my final question would be, now that we're heading to 2025, is there a next level? Is there anything that you're eyeing going into 2025 for whether it be sports or for the senior center or anything like that?
I think we'll continue on pushing the sports center. David mentioned about Crunch Fitness a minute ago. I think we got to look and see what's out there new that they might not be doing that may send people our way. But people like our location because it's more of a family oriented and it's clean. And I'm not talking about any sports centers to whatever, but you seem not to it not be as clean. And I think with the push to the new equipment and things like that, I think that's going to keep on letting that grow. And I was reading some reviews the other day, and it's clean and the people are nice. And that's what I tell them is try to know that person's name when they walk in the door. I think having that personality with folks coming in and knowing who those folks are coming in. The new thing we're going to start doing is if I hadn't seen somebody in 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to give them a call and say, hey, Mr. Allgood, we hadn't seen you here in about a month or so. Everything okay? And I think that goes a long way too. So people feel at home when they come to the sports center, if that answers your question.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. Looks like you might have a park master plan update as well.
You're correct. We're narrowing it down. We met last week, me, Willie, and Mr. Saxton, and we spent all afternoon together all day. I think Mr. Saxton was ready to get rid of me because I'm kind of an antsy type guy. So, but we've narrowed it down to a couple, and we're going to actually have a meeting in the morning. And he probably bring me some decaf coffee instead of caffeinated coffee, but he's going to come down in the morning. We're going to try to narrow it down this week.
Good. Any other questions from the committee? All right.
I would like to say one thing. I've enjoyed working for Mr. Saxon so far, and I do appreciate him kind of dealing with me. I'm a kind of a high energy guy, and I want to thank my staff. It ain't always about it's about a team, and it's not about me. Us department heads, we kind of just wrangle our guys in and make sure they're going the right direction. It's just not about it's not about me. It's about us improving our department, that rec department. And it's a unique situation because I looked at it the other day. You've got Willie went to Mauldin High School. You got Andre Clark went to Mauldin High School. You got Jessica Butler went to Mauldin High School. You got Blake Krause went to Mauldin High School. Got Taylor Williams that went to Mauldin High School. So we got a lot of Mauldin people that really genuinely love this city and put that extra effort in. And Amanda Duffy went to Mauldin as well. And so everybody draws back to Mauldin. And I don't know anything else better than Mauldin being here. I was born and raised here. I've worked here. This is my 36th year, and I enjoy it. I just want, it's not about me. It's not about the department heads. It's about the people who come in every day and working right now in basketball, doing 7 days a week, and these firemen and everybody else. So it's not about us department heads all the time. It's about the folks that they make me look good, but they do it because they love the job. And I just want to tell them publicly, thank you. I tell them that too to their face, but I just want to tell them thank you. And so y'all know.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. Up next, we have unfinished business. There is none. Any new business? There is no new business. That leaves us to the next public comment phase. Do we have any other public comments in the crowd? Bueller? No? All right. Committee concerns. Do we have any? We have no committee concerns. So what is the pleasure of the committee on adjournment?
So moved.
I have a motion to adjourn and
Second.
we got a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 6:29. Up next would be public safety.
All right, we'll call the, what are we, the third committee meeting to order. It is 6:30. And we have all committee members are present, as well as our police chief Miller and Chief McCone with the fire department and other department heads. Sorry. Okay, yeah, I see that. All right, that will lead us to our first public comment. Seeing none, we will move on to the reading and approval of the minutes from January the 6th.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any corrections needed? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of January the 6th, say aye.
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 Aye. None opposed. Motion carries unanimously. Reports from our city leaders, officers. We've got Chief McCone up first.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. So we'll give y'all a yearly update. Well, you do have it up there. Thank you. Okay, appreciate that, Seth. Go ahead to the next slide. Oh, it's up here. Sorry. Okay, I know you put it up there. For the total incidents for 2024 was 5,509 calls. In 2023 was 4,925 calls, which is a 1.12% increase on call volume. And on the second slide, we had a total of 137 fires. And you see all the structure fires was 36, grass fires was 44, vehicle fires 16, confined 14, other was 10, and we actually had 17 mutual aid calls to other departments. And the estimated total loss was 1.2 million. What we estimated a total what we saved was over $9 million in property. Then the next slide is our time of day calls, and it's still the same, still trending is the same as been the last couple of years. Our busiest call times is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's where most of our calls come in during that time. The next one's our code enforcement. For 2023, we done a total of 998 inspections. And for 2024, we done 1,489, which is up 1.5%. You can see in the city, how many we done in the city, in the district, and conferences. That's any time they meet with the building officials or anything like that. That's all considered conferences. And we had new construction was total of 77. In our fire prevention, those are the events. We had a total of 52 puppet shows, touch a truck, and tours. We had 182 smoke detector installs in residents in the city and the fire service area. We hosted 6 CPR classes, 38 car seat installs, and 36 city events we participated in, 29 medical standby, and 66 community events. Next slide is going to be our training, which a lot of the guys and ourselves are very proud of on how many hours we went when we first started this, keeping track of it. Like you see from last year, 2023, we had documented hours over 15,000 hours. This year we had over 18,000 hours. And that goes out to the staff. I mean, everybody playing their part. Then you get to see a heat map of all our call areas, and you can really pay attention. It's hard to see on this one, but towards the western side, Fork Shoals area, a lot of that area is picking up with the development stuff going out that end. And the next slide, like I said, as you know, Mr. Cumberlander said, we couldn't do this without the staff. And like I said, it is them that does it. And I want to thank them publicly. Y'all have any questions?
So my question is on the heat map. I always love your heat map. I always find it very interesting because it shows, I think, areas of pockets for concern, right? So like, would it be most, because I know you answer a lot of traffic things, right? So that's one, but plus where growth is heading. So just curious if you've noticed any trends, heat map to heat map.
It's still trending about the same. Our busiest area is these nursing homes. We go there constantly. And that's where, if you'll see any of the red, orangish areas, that's where that is going to be, nursing homes.
Yeah. Yeah, I always just find it fascinating. I love your heat map. Just want to tell you that.
Yep, thank you.
We're glad you love the heat map. I'm a fan as well. Any other questions? Well, thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Thanks your
And thank y'all for what
staff
y'all
for
do.
all that they do. Good report.
Thank you.
Chief Miller's up next.
Madam Chair, before Chief jumps, I just wanted to kind of call to attention there in the packet also included from Judge Dorado was her stats. And so she unfortunately could not be here tonight. And so just wanted to everybody see those real quick. They're pretty. So actually she's done it's not a heat map, but she's done a phenomenal job of getting rid of or disposing of cases and working through backlogs and things like that. Good all around.
Yeah, I echo that. She's done a fantastic job and trying to clean up the office and get some files electronically filed when she can. I know that's been an ordeal to try to clean all that up. So we definitely are blessed to have her. Thank you for that report. Any questions on the clerk's report for the city administrator? Yes, sir, Mr. Allgood.
My only thing that I noticed is there's no decrease anywhere. Like if you look across the board, everything's an increase, and with that municipal ordinance as being 120% increase, I think that would be interesting to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't give more specifics on what that is, but next month we can have Donna kind of walk through some of these and answer more specifically on them, because that one stands out. But you know, I think by and large, as we grow, the regular issues we deal with will numerically grow as well. So traffic, for example, but yeah, we can definitely have her follow back next month to talk about these.
Thank you. And that again would reflect the growth of the city, right? With some of those delinquents. All right. Moving on to Chief Miller.
Mr. Kraling, Mr. Allgood. I'll start off with, well, I guess I need to change it. Minute. Okay, there we go. The key statistics, our total calls for service have gone down this year versus last year. 33,380, 35,709. Property checks have decreased. A lot of that is they used to call out every street that they were doing, but now they're just doing neighborhoods, so it's technically more because they're doing the whole neighborhood. Total reports taken have taken a decline this year. Traffic citations went up. A lot of that has to do with the traffic team going into effect. Also, the warning citations have gone up dramatically, and our outlook on that is lots of time a warning will speak louder than a ticket. So they're showing a lot of grace. DUIs have gone down. Here in probably this summer, we're going to start back up on the DUI checkpoints, traffic safety checkpoints. Narcotics violations have gone up. And like I say, it's daily that you walk in and you can smell it through the front door. They're getting it off the street in bunches. Motor vehicle accidents have gone up. A lot of that has to do with the amount of traffic that we have going through the city. Most of it's during the day when we have a lot of commuters from outside the city coming into the city. The motor vehicle accidents with injury has gone up. Not many of those with injury. That could be anybody from just a burn from a airbag to being taken out in an ambulance because they're non-mobile. Property crimes have gone down dramatically. A lot of that has to do with, like I say, bringing Oh, I'm sorry. I was waiting on you. Here, I'll hold it in my hand. Property crimes like burglaries, auto break-ins, and things like that have gone down this year. A lot of that has to do with the traffic team being out and giving the road patrol more time to do property checks in the neighborhoods and around the businesses. Violent crimes took a small decline. Total arrests have gone up. The top three reasons for traffic citations, the number one is insurance violations, number two, speeding, and disregarding sign and signals, number three. Top three reasons for warnings are speeding, disregarding a stop sign or signal, and other violations. All right, this year, Lieutenant Madden and Corporal Sefcheck went above and beyond like they do every year. They attended over 188 events. These events included classes offered to the public to assist them with scam awareness, active shooter events, and collision prevention. They also regularly attended ribbon cutting events and made contact with and welcomed the new business owners in the city. Some of the noteworthy things that they did this year was they did in the clutch with B93.7. We had a box out here where people would come by and drop things for the housing victims for domestic violence. Pause to reflect. We had two animal things, so let me make sure I got them right. Donations to benefit local organizations that assist with care and housing of animals such as Grace Acres, Anakin Trail, Labor of Love, and Greenville County Animal Care. All of them have assisted us tremendously with adopting out animals and animals that we find that we can't get back to the owners. Linda Paul, that was at Hollywood Feed and Seed or Feed. We got two vehicles full of animal supplies. They had parked two vehicles out there, and people go in and buy dog food and everything, and they bring it out and put it in the vehicle. So we got two of those. They also had four dogs adopted that day, and all the donations were provided to Greenville County Animal Care. National Night Out, as y'all know, Lieutenant Madden, he's phenomenal. It was another breakout year. We had multiple trunk or treats, people requesting us for churches and schools and stuff like that. So we had officers and the community people go. We did LEO Santa, which we do every year. We had officers that were at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena accepting toys and donations from people. And then what they would do, they did the LEO Santa toy delivery where they would take the toys and drop them off in neighborhoods for people that were in need. We did cocoa and candy cones, candy canes with a cop where the cocoa, we did that at the middle school. We took cocoa and sat down and drank with a lot of the middle schoolers in the lunchroom. Candy cane, same thing. National Coffee with a Cup, we did that with Seven Brew. That's the second year in a row. We've partnered with them, and what we'll do is we have officers go in and deliver the coffee to the people coming through the drive-through. And sometimes, well, we got a couple of pictures of them making it, but they didn't make it. So also, this is our first year. We've tried with, there's a local business that's a chain that usually helps out with the Special Olympics, but we've tried with them and it didn't work. But now we finally got with the Special Olympics. And February the 15th, if you're wanting to come out, we're going to be doing the polar bear plunge at the water park down the road. It's a great cause. I will not be doing it.
Ah,
I like warm water, not cold water. So, yes, we'll have quite a few people doing that from different agencies as well as Mauldin. Hurricane Helene relief. It's like the past two presenters said. Our officers have done a tremendous job. Working extra hours, getting out here, standing in the rain, directing traffic for hours at the main intersection because they couldn't get the lights back on. Like I say, they help people throughout the whole thing, along with Public Works and the fire department, and also Captain Hodrea and Lieutenant Madden. They went to the airport and picked up a load of supplies from the airport and the brand new trailer that they had just gotten and took up to Lake Lure. And they were one of the few that got to be able to get through to Lake Lure to be able to give those citizens some extra relief. There's just some pictures of some things like in the clutch, the coffee with a cop, Linda Paul. I didn't mention Fist Bump Friday. The kids love it. We love it. All right, training. We had this year, the police department has conducted more than 3,105 hours of training. This consisted of in-service training, advanced training, verbal de-escalation, and the main one that we're making sure everybody goes through is NAMI, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Due to the amount of people that we deal with mental illness, we want to be able to interact with them and solve situations peacefully. And once again, they're encouraged. We have one of the best, supported by council, one of the best training budgets around, and they're encouraged to seek out advanced training, and we send them to those trainings. Yeah, that's all I got. If y'all have any questions.
Chief, do you know, and if you don't, you can report back, but how much our training hours are up with the new equipment from the prior year, that 3,100? Do you think it's in line, or I would think it would be more.
It's more.
Okay.
Each year we're building more. Because like I say, it's just
That's what we do.
the world's changing and we have to change with it. So we're sending officers to get training. What we'll also do is some of the officers, we'll send them to classes and they'll come back and at roll call teach what they learned there. So they're not just going to class and keeping that information, they're spreading it out to everybody else.
Well, I will, yeah, and just like I said, for fire, we just are so appreciative of your leadership and for all of our officers that sometimes go unthanked. I was at a local restaurant recently and watched two of our officers. I was kind of out of sight, but they basically were de-escalating a situation that could have gotten out of hand with one individual who obviously had some mental health issues.
Sure.
And, you just sometimes take for granted your safety and that everybody's just like you, and that's not the case. But to see them handled that with grace. I don't, as much grace as they could.
Right.
And, it was, they were quiet and you could tell they were just basically in that de-escalating and didn't cause a scene. And it was just, that's what part of the training. I mean, I know that's one small example, but
Right. Yeah, our officers are tremendous in dealing with that.
yeah, yeah. So,
Like I say, even from, and also one of the things everybody's heard that Mauldin's the speed trap due to a local, news agency reporting probably about 6 months ago.
Mhm.
Travelers Rest took that from us. So we don't have that title anymore.
and then the only other comment I have is the amount of events that we're doing is just incredible.
It is, like I say, Sam Duncan, our, codes officer, he does a lot with them too, because it's just a lot for the two of them to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Cause they've got, we got the Polar Plunge coming up. We've got the, car show that
Right.
Seth Check put together, and it's gonna be awesome.
All right. Anyone else? Mr. Craglin?
Just the, when was the Polar Plunge again?
The Polar Plunge.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
15th.
15th.
The 15th, yes, sir. It's gonna be at the, I think it's.
Discovery.
Park. Yeah, the one right down the road. Yes, ma'am, the one right down the road. So, yeah, I think Madden's ordered a costume to jump in.
Yeah, that would be worth attending. Mr. Allgood?
Thank you. So I really have two quick questions. The call volume going down by 2,500, what do you think attributed that most? Going from
Oh, the call.
35,000 to 33,000?
Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, it's a great trend that we're having. Hopefully people are starting to talk things out rather than get to the point to where we have to be involved. But yes, most of those it's just, go ahead.
So to piggyback off of one of the, like Ms. King just mentioned a moment ago, de-escalating an event, you being in the community, is that perhaps one of the key reasons that you guys are out there more? You're taking this training?
Yes, yes, sir. That has a lot to do with it. Like I said, with the total calls for service going down, the property crimes went down tremendously, and a lot of that's got to do with the officers being out and being seen.
And then the last question I had for you was, we obviously have things like Amped Up Fridays and other events that we hold during the evening time in particular. I mean, you're showing that a lot of things are down overall. Do we typically have any major issues with DUIs or traffic issues, traffic accidents during those events, or do you guys pretty much lock down?
No, sir. Coming from those events, I don't think if we've had any, it's been less than a handful. I think people are doing it responsibly, and
Perfect. That's what I like to hear. Thank you.
yes. Any more questions?
Anything else? All right. Thank you, Chief.
For your time.
Appreciate it. All right. So we have no unfinished business. We have no new business tonight. So that leaves us to our second public comment. Seeing none here and none there. Committee concerns. See y'all all on the 15th to witness the Polar Plunge. I
Yeah,
think that's
hopefully.
an event we don't need to miss. All right. What I have on adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned at 6:52.
Oh, yeah, he would.
Calling APD to order, 6:53 PM. Everybody's here. First public comment. Hearing none. What do I hear on reading and approval of minutes?
So moved accepted as written.
We have a motion.
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Minutes are approved. Reports, communications from city officers. Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, sir. Just two quick items. One, the city has released a city rebranding RFP, so that is now out and active and open. So we're excited about that. I don't have the specific details off the top of my head right this second on that, but it will be closing here by the end of the month, and we will be hopefully getting that project kicked off pretty soon. And the other thing is, BDS Director Deerhog had reminded me to mention that the Planning Commission will begin working with our consultants, the same folks who did the strategic plan. Benchmark Consulting will be doing our comp plan. And so they are going to have their kickoff meeting this month and get that process underway with the Planning Commission.
Any questions for Seth? All right. Then we're going to go ahead and I guess have a quick presentation from Mr. Fleeman about Cultural Center.
Yes, sir. So we had in this year's budget some money to fix and work on the floor in the theater area. And so Mr. Fleeman is going to kind of give us an update on that, the Public Works item.
Yes, so Public Works, well, thank you, Seth, Mr. Chairman. Public Works was tasked with making this large purchase to address the sinking floor and some of the structural issues with the Cultural Center. I contracted out a structural engineer to come underneath and really assess the structure in its entirety. We had some firms look at it, and ultimately, what we found is that there's some water damages in the joists settling over time. A couple of joists are just bad. And so we put it out to bid, and we selected the most responsible bidder. They actually worked with the structural engineer. The plan is to go in there and sister a lot of the joists. That's where you take joists the same size, butt up against, and bolt and screw it through together. There's going to have to be 4 jacks underneath there, as well as a 30-foot long steel beam. But when it's all said and done, they're on the other side of it, they're going to lift up the floor, they're going to install a new subfloor, and then put the flooring back. And then we'll be structurally sound at a point where, moving forward, if we decide to do something different with the flooring, carpet, sand, and stain, they can make that decision. We've contracted or issued out the purchase order to Mount Valley Foundation. It's come in $25,000 under budget. Initially, we had planned to start on the 17th of this month. They had some conflicts, and speaking with Christine at the Cultural Center, because the work is going to be inside and underneath, and the work could take up to 2 weeks. In perfect world may take less. Just to not disrupt activities there, she gave us very specific windows to work in. So since we won't be able to hit that February 17th date, it looks like we're not going to start until April. But the date works for the contractor and for the Cultural Center. There's just a question I would assume that would be asked, there is no immediate risk or danger or liability right now. It's sound, but the floor does sag. And this will address it and fix everything.
So you're standing there and expecting me to believe that a nearly 100-year-old building needs some love?
just a little bit. Hey, they don't build them like that anymore, to be honest with you. You look at the new construction and you look at something like that, stuff like that, it's way over designed. It's just,
We're lucky.
Water does damage wood.
What is the total price tag on that?
$76,000.
We had budgeted 100 for that.
Any questions for Mr. Fleeman? Thank you, sir. While we're in the city officers portion, y'all got anything you want to say? I mean, if you got anything. Gina, how about you? You good? All right. We have no unfinished business, so that leads us to new business, the amphitheater stage cover.
And we're going to have Miss Gina McAtee give us that information.
Spotlight.
Good evening. Before you is a recommendation for the committee to approve and move to City Council a plan to construct and fund a new stage cover for the amphitheater at the Mauldin Cultural Center. In September, as you know, the amphitheater, which is home to the city's festivals and events, was hit by a falling tree during Hurricane Helene, destroying the stage cover and damaging the fascia of the stage. Staff released a request for proposals to solicit bids for a steel structure that would support rigging, incorporate basic overhead lighting, and have better long-term durability. The RFP was released in early January and received bids until January 28th. The request sought proposals from qualified contractors for the design, construction, and installation of a permanent stage cover. It is important to note that we did not specify a size, style, design, or timeline in the RFP. We did note the size of the stage and that the new footers would need to be located outside the current stage footprint. And we also provided the dates for the Mauldin Blues and Jazz Festival and Amped Up Fridays summer concert series. We received 7 quotes from 6 bidders, which you can see in the first table. Each company was reviewed and scored based on several criteria. The structure styles listed can be seen in the attached photos. The second table highlights the different features of each of the proposed structures, such as size, lighting, and timeline. You will see highlighted in green, Hogan Construction Group, LLC. Hogan provided a comprehensive response to the RFP. The proposed stage completely covers the existing stage, locates the columns outside the existing stage platform, and preserves sight lines from the seating area to the performers on stage. The structure included painted steel columns, arched beams, purlins, and secondary framing with stained tongue and groove columns, decking and painted standing seam metal roof. It comes with a 35-year warranty on the finish and 20-year water tightness warranty. It also includes basic lighting above the stage and will support an optional truss system. Hogan also anticipates a completion date of 12 weeks after engagement. While other bidders did offer varying styles of stage covers and at different price points, Hogan's bid presents the city with an affordable product that meets the city's need, provides a visually distinctive cover, and offers installation by the end of May. Given that Hogan achieved the highest score of all submittals, is within the estimated budget for this project, and is able to be installed prior to the beginning of the summer concert series on May 23rd, which does eliminate the need to rent a temporary cover. It is staff's recommendation that council approve Hogan as the lowest responsive bidder. I can move into the fiscal impact. So the estimated expenses for the stage cover from Hogan include a base price of $365,000, plus $12,000 for stone decorative footers, $10,000 for a truss frame to support rigging, and $13,000 for signage and contingency. The proposed funding plan includes a budget of $400,000 for this project. Through the PARD grant and state ATAX grant, we have secured approximately $177,000 for this project. The balance to finish is estimated at about $222,000 from the H&A fund balance. We have identified reallocation opportunities in that budget as we complete some other capital improvement projects. We're also continuing to seek additional funding through local grants and charitable donations. These additional funding sources will offset our use of the H&A fund balance. So with all this information, we're recommending to committee to approve and move to council the funding plan and to select Hogan Construction Group as the lowest responsive bidder. Any questions?
Any questions for Gina?
Did we not get any insurance money or settlement out of, I can't remember. I know we talked about it, but
If I recall, because of the materials and the fact that it was donated, there was no insurability for the stage cover.
that's right. Thank you.
Correct in that, Mr. Duncan?
Yes, sir, and well said. Thank you, sir.
Is there a motion to adopt funding or to move that the funding plan be forwarded to full council with recommendation of approval, as well as recommending Hogan Construction be the contractor for the project?
Motion, as you stated.
We have motion. Is there a second?
There's a second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And we're going to forward that to full council. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Moves us to second public comment. Hearing none. Committee concerns. Hearing none. What do we hear on adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned at 7:03.
Reynolds here? Oh, you're hiding behind the screen. Okay, so, all righty. All right, I call to order the Public Works Committee meeting for February 3rd. It is what, 7:05, 7:06. All right, I have here myself, Mr. Reynolds, and Carol King. All right, first we'll start with public comments. Any public comments? All right, none. Move on to reading and approval of minutes. What do I hear?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any changes to be noted? None. All right, all those in favor to submit as written, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. All right, moving on to reports and communications from city officers. Mr. Fleeman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee. Here we go, a year in review. We're gonna have a bunch of information. I'll try to keep it as clear as possible. Is this thing gonna work, Seth? All right, so we're gonna start with sanitation. Earlier, you heard David talk about the number of permits that have been issued, a number of people moving in. A good way to kind of see the effect of what that had in the city is kind of look at our numbers. If you remember over the past year, there was a number of times I came in to talk about how the sanitation for the month had set a new record. Well, we set a lot of records, and I think it's best shown graphically. So if you were to look at 2024 as compared to the years previously, you'll notice that there was a significant jump in the amount of sanitation handled by our department. So you don't have to do the math. That's about 800 tons, which is about 1.6 million pounds. Additional trash picked up in 2024 over the last previous 3 years. We've done this with the same amount of staff, with the sidearm trash trucks, and we couldn't have done this without the sidearm trash trucks. Information like this is valuable because the next question is, well, Fleeman, they're still building houses. Like, what are you going to do? Well, if you remember, we have another trash truck being delivered this month as part of the capital budget. Additionally, we are going to be looking this year to reassess our trash routes. As we've brought developments on, we've kind of like elbowed and squeezed them into routes. And so we have some disproportionate routes on certain days. So sometime either by the beginning of the new fiscal year or by the end of the calendar year, we'll be working to send stuff out to residents, and we'll be realigning trash days so that it's, there's not like right now, Wednesdays and Fridays are crazy days. And it would be nice to, rather than have crazy days, have consistency across the week. The other thing that you can see here, and it's actually somewhat disheartening, is we know that there's 1.6 more million pounds of trash because there's that many more people in the city. But if you look at the recycling, it's way down. People just aren't recycling. We have more people, and less recycling. Some of this can be attributed to, in the 2024 calendar year, we did transition to have just the sidearm trucks picking up and just have the can. But apparently the $50 cost for the can, that $50 was worth more than the incentive to cycle. Hopefully moving forward, because a lot of the new developments, they do buy the recycle cans, we'll see this go up. If not, then we'll be talking about recycling again in the 2025 Public Works committees. So I wanted to show this one, as we grow, we're going to have more leaves, we're going to have more debris. But you know, there was a lot of smack talked about Public Works online and on Facebook. And I'd like to document that in the 3 months of 2024 from post hurricane, without a drop in any service, with everyone chipping in, we picked up more brush than you would in an entire calendar year.
That'd be a bad thing to throw out there. Social media. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So streets, streets is the workhorse. You know, you never see them, you never hear about them, but those guys are churning out. Every year we see an increase in the total amount of roadways. You know, we're up to about 93 miles of streets. You know, this year, you know, we always do several miles of crack filling. We get roads paved with the GLDTC. We do our catch basin inspections, stormwater. We really focused this year on doing more of the stormwater work. It was one of the things that we kind of been tasked with, whether the mayor and through committee. And you can kind of see at this increase in our drainage work, you know, we've ditched several miles of the city this calendar year, and it's just gone up. The amount of pipe that we installed, the amount of pipe that we've cleaned, it just continues to go up. You know, they've continued to do curb repairs. In the capital budget for this year, we're putting in a curb machine. We are still doing it by hand. And it's still a service that people love and ask for. It's right back up in the spring. And it's going to, because a lot of curbing got damaged during the Helene brush pickup. So potholes, you know, they pave. We also installed almost 400 feet of just driveway pipe, you know, just to address stormwater issue in this calendar year. So the guys are working hard, and I couldn't be prouder. Sewer. If you don't know, sewer is my thing. This is my bread and butter. You know, sewer's the only true division in public works that actually has set goals. I mean, I come up with arbitrary goals for each department or each division, but as far as the sewer goes, because it's a permitted or regulatory action, we actually have goals that are set forth through our CMOM through REWA. This table summarizes the miles of sewer. You know, you can see that's gone up every year. We continue to annex and add more. We have 113 miles of sewer pipe. I mean, put that in perspective. That's like laying pipe from here to downtown Atlanta. All right. That's how much sewer we have in the ground. We have 3,275 manholes. When we look at this, we have our numbers here. So what you see is I have how much we cameraed, how much we cleaned, and the goal. I set the goal at 25% of the system. The US EPA recommends a goal of 10%. I don't feel that that's adequate. I feel like, you know, if we just do the bare minimum, we're doing the bare minimum. 25 is a reasonable expectation. We've come a long way in the years that I've been here. You can see that we weren't meeting these goals. In the last 2 years, we've basically we've got it. I think we had good training. We reorganized. We've got the proper equipment, the new camera van. I got the right manager for the division, and it's just they know what they're doing. They do a good job, and you know, REWA loves everything that we submit, all of the records, all of our reports. We don't have any of the issues that we've had like years in the past. Manhole inspections, it's the same thing. You know, they weren't meeting the expectations. We finally got above it, and we have a system in place, and now we meet or exceed the goals every year. Collection system repairs. This is the one thing I harped on. Prior to my time here in the city of Mauldin, the sewer division did not make any repairs. They contracted everything out. I'm of the mindset, if somebody else can do it, then I can do it too. And so you can see a general increase, especially in the point repairs. You know, they would do some manhole repairs, and we do 70, 75 manhole repairs a year, but you can see over the last 5 years, the number of point repairs. I mean, this last year we did 21 point repairs in-house. To contract that out, you're probably looking, let's just say $10,000 to $20,000 a repair. So, I mean, 21 repairs, I mean, that's $1 million that we just saved by doing it in-house. And then, this just kind of shows how much rehab we're doing in the system. And this just comes down to the budgeting with Holly and finance and the money allocated by council. We did a bunch of rehab before my time here back in 2018 at the requirement of REWA. And ever since then, we've been budgeting money. Each tick on that graph is, we did some manhole rehabs in the 2020, 2021, 2022, when we started to see the linear feet of the rehabilitation go up. That's the RIA grant I got. The second tick is the ARPA grant, not a grant, but ARPA expenditures from Council Memorandum 928. Third tick, which is this past year, is the $4 million rehab project that we're still in the midst of. We're not even halfway through the $4 million yet, so you can expect the next year you're going to have another point. And then we are submitting again in March for another grant based on that money that's been allocated for rehab. Fleet, these guys, can't say enough about Fleet. They take care of all the big red trucks, all the police cars. You can kind of see the breakdown of their work. It's not that the police cars break down more. It's just there's more police cars, and those guys run those things. So, every time there's a work ticket, this is a graphic representation of the work ticket. So, every oil change, every tire rotation, all the stuff that the police do, and that just really ticks up and makes them have all these work orders. And it, graphically, it does look like we're doing a lot of work on that, but it's really just, this is preventative maintenance. And then, you look over the last few years, it's really the same with fire administration, public works, and sanitation really bringing in way behind police. But I can't speak enough about Fleet. We have some of the best mechanics, like the skill set of the two guys who work in Fleets. It's going to be hard pressed to ever replace them. So they do a great job, and I'm very proud. Last is parks. We're going to work on parks. We're going to work to try to do a better presentation of what actually they do. Currently, supervisor just basically reports the hours that they allocate to different duties, whether it be, taking care of fields, taking care of buildings, and so on and so forth. We set some goals this year that we're going to work on, where we have an expectation for a number of beautification projects. So far, if you've noticed, we did the back of City Hall, we did the side of City Hall. They're working on the front of City Hall right now. We did the front of the Cultural Center. We've grassed the back part of the Cultural Center grounds. And some of this stuff flies underneath the radar, and I really, I want it to be known how hard they're working and what kind of things they are doing. They've just started this week. We're also going to redo the entrance to Sunset Park. It's our marquee park. It should look like our marquee park. So we're going to be working on the entrance to make it look like our marquee park. But the guys are great, hardworking. We're doing things that we just haven't done in the years past. And then I just, to steal from Bart, it's not me, it's the team, and they're doing a great job. But that's the year for Public Works. Oh, and then the other things, I really should have put them up there, and I thought about it when I was seeing the Chiefs. We've done 6 touch of trucks. We go to the schools for sanitation. We work all of the events. We're there to support in every way, and we won the trunk or treat event.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
I have just one question on the recycling.
Yes, sir.
I know there's a large percentage of what we submit to recycling ends up getting thrown away, right?
See,
Because maybe somebody puts the wrong stuff in, contamination, that type of stuff. Has that gotten any, do we know if that's gotten better? Maybe we're getting better at it, just less of it, or?
the values that are presented are the values that we dropped off. So that's not
Right.
being
Understood, but do we have
literally
any?
what we picked up. They kind of, it ebbs and flows with them. They haven't said anything to us in a long time. So really, we don't know. I certainly could solicit that information for you.
I'm just curious, maybe we're doing because I know maybe we're getting smarter about the way we're recycling. No pizza boxes, food, that type of stuff. I'm not sure if people actually know that or not, but certain things you can and can't do.
Yeah.
But we can't. I'd only like to submit what can be recycled, not what ends up in a very
Just,
expensive dump.
I just think it's remarkable that we're submitting that much less recycling. So, like I said, it's disheartening because it's a free service. All you got to do is put it in the blue can. I don't.
Now, we quit doing glass though quite a while ago, didn't we?
Yes.
The weight of the glass.
Yeah, glass is.
That was long before this.
Yeah, we
make a
stopped
difference,
glass
yeah.
several years ago.
So I'm just curious if maybe materials have changed, packaging, although we get a lot more Amazon, you'd think we'd have more cardboard.
Right?
Yep. All right. Thank you. All righty. And we move on to unfinished business. Oh, wait, do you have more here? You have the end of the year, storm mass,
I do have some updates.
Oak Park and the, stormwater.
Yes. Okay. So, update on the stormwater project at Oak Park. It was determined dealing with Army Corps of Engineers, some information was provided in the front end that was changed as we've gone along. Ultimately, it's not going to affect, the project's still going to move forward, but they're going to require a CLOMAR, which is a conditional letter of map revision. You know, we're going to be daylighting some stream, and we're going to be staying and basically maintaining what's already in the in place. But because we're altering the drainage, the FEMA flood maps have to change. Even it's all the same drainage channel. It's still the same drainage, but FEMA has to look at it and determine that it's the same, even though it is the same. It's bureaucracy at its best, and sign off on the CLOMAR. So we've submitted everything. It's US EPA Region 4. We're checking weekly, following up, pestering, you know, just be like, come on, we're not adding pipes. We're actually taking pipes out of the ground, putting a stream back. It's all the same. Issue this CLOMAR. And so we're working on that. All the plans for the project are at 90%. The project manual has been submitted to SCORE. It's been approved. You know, the environmental review was completed, submitted. They had additional information. Our response was submitted this week. Everything's right on track. The county has already signed off on our permits. It's just, we need the CLOMAR from FEMA, and then we can go out to bid.
Called Elon yet?
I
can get it faster.
My fear is that they're going to get gutted and there's going to be no one working. But the project's moving right ahead. Everything, there has been one modification. Originally, we were going to dump off at the end of Elkwood. I don't know if I spoke to this in the previous committee. But the property owner at the end didn't want to give an easement. And I just didn't want to bring before you like an eminent domain or anything like that. So the decision was made to work with the property owners where the buried 48-inch pipes are side by side and redo it through the existing stormwater easement. We'll use that in parentheses, and keep it in place. And the homeowners that are affected are all on board. And they're just
should be.
Absolutely. So because of the change, the project will come in under cost. Okay. The extra money provided to us through SCORE is still there. In case there's anything that comes up, there won't be any need to ask for any additional funds. And hopefully it will come in under budget and be completely funded. Okay. Any questions on this? Oh, all right. And then the EMD Stormwater Master Plan. This was started back when Brandon was the city administrator. We went out and got a $500,000 stormwater grant where we were joint applicants with the city of Fountain Inn. This was for the generation of Stormwater Master Plan. The Stormwater Master Plan has been completed, submitted to us for review. Both Seth and I definitely reviewed it and provided comments. And
it is a 600+ page report written in all engineering speak. The executive summary was 120 pages. the summary of the executive summary was, still 20. So.
So I've been working with the engineer. I had a meeting with them today. The plan is for them to give a high-level summary on this at the 17th, at the council meeting. And so we'll get that arranged through Cindy. I'm going to ensure, I told them that I wanted all the slides before the presentation, and I'll make sure that it flows.
Just out of curiosity, one thing you may want to try, and I've done this on a couple of things and it does amazing. Throw that into like your chat GPT, say do a summary of it. Some of the stuff it comes up with is amazing, but it may give you some different insight or questions to ask. If it's a PDF, if you put it in there, it kind of scares me, to be honest, how good some of this stuff.
I mean, it's a great report. It's just a lot of it, and you'll see when they do the presentation, is they have a system in place, how they evaluated a crossing. And they have ranked the crossing, and they scored it based on flood levels, a 10-year, 25, 50-year. And then they created a level of service, and then, what the elevation would be, what needs to change in that crossing. And then they go to the next crossing. And there's like 80 some crossings. So it's once you
Repetitive.
figure out the process, it's just repeating itself on every one of these crossings. And it's not only our crossings, it's also the DOT owned crossings within the city, because they affect upstream and downstream crossings. So it's just like a wash, rinse, repeat kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But this report is necessary in order for us to apply for additional grants, federal grants through FEMA. So this was a precursor step to open the door for more grant opportunity.
Totally understand. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
That's right.
Good. Any questions?
I would say put the summarized report that you get out of ChatGPT
Maybe that is
back
correct.
in, back in one more
Yes,
time.
that 120-page summary, maybe put that into it to see what it comes out, maybe get down to 40. Okay, all right. Is it Princess Bride? No, let me sum up. All right. Okay, from that, let's move on to unfinished business. I have none. New business, no parking on Gateway Boulevard.
All right, so what you have before you is a request. We're requesting authorization to designate areas along Gateway Boulevard and Park Plaza as no parking zones. We've had a lot of complaints. It's an area, there's the Boy Scouts down there and some commercial businesses. It's turned into overnight parking for tractor trailers and other long haul equipment, vehicles. They've dropped trailers, and because it's an L shape, but in the turn is also a cul-de-sac, and the cul-de-sac has turned into, for lack of a better phrase, like a truck plaza. And we've attempted to resolve the issue with the traffic team. They're not parked illegally. Some of the issues that we have had were mail couldn't be delivered because they were blocking mailboxes, and only in that case could they get involved and do something. But it's really affecting the adjoining business owners and employees. It poses a dangerous situation. I've included some photographs in your packet. You have to bob and weave to get to work. And I understand it's tough when you're driving a tractor trailer and you got to pull off and sleep somewhere. Maybe just find somewhere else. Just let's not affect our local business owners.
There are places to park.
There are.
Designated.
And so the reason we're doing this, because in most cases, as a public works director, I can erect signs, stop signs, through signs, dead end, whatever it may be. But your ordinances specify that these signs for no parking have to be designated by the city administrator or by the recommendation of city council. So this is one time where my authority just kind of makes me stop short. So I'm asking for you guys to allow me to put up these no parking signs. And then this would allow the police department to have some grounds to get the trucks to relocate.
Motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make the motion to forward to full council the recommendation to designate the areas along Gateway Boulevard and Park Plaza as no parking zones.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? And on that, those in favor of forwarding this to full council, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign. And we have a motion moved. All right, and that's it. Anything else? Okay, public comments. Any public comments? Any? And committee concerns? Any concerns? None. And what do I hear on adjournment?
So moved.
I got a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor, or any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. We are adjourned.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and call the next meeting to order. This is Finance and Policy. The date is February 3rd. The time is 7:29. Members present are myself, Ms. Carol King, and Mr. Taft Matney, who was pretty quick to take there, as well as department heads. If you'll bear with me, I lost my voice on Thursday and Friday, and I'm slowly regaining it. So if I squeak and squawk, sorry. First order is call to order. Second is public comment. Hearing and seeing none. We're going to move on to reading and approval of minutes. What do I hear?
A mic on. Motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve as submitted. These for November 4th, 2024. Do I have any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next one's going to be reports and communications from city officers. Mr. Seth Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just three things real quick. Also giving a quick update for Mr. Putnam, who wasn't feeling well this afternoon and went home. So Build a Better Butler, we did get word last week that the project let date is probably going to be pushed to April to June. But they are nearing completion on their right-of-way acquisition. They do, though, hope that even though the project is being pushed a few more months, that's not going to delay the overall project schedule. So fingers crossed, June of this year, it will get going. The next thing, I just, like everyone else, I wanted to kind of follow that bandwagon of this city does not run without a great team, and we have a great team, and especially those who stayed around to the end here. But no, we do have a great team. They're doing great. I think the numbers are reflective, and I'm just very proud of the professionalism, the skill, the expertise, and dedication. Just want to say thank you. And then last, for Mark, he did want me to put out there, and we'll make sure there's a calendar invite, but April 16th is going to be our employee awards day. I think that's what do we call it? Service Awards Day, luncheon. So that more details to come on that, but April 16th.
Awesome. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Yeah, no, I was looking over here and I think somebody mentioned that you can't spell team without me, but no one got that. No one got
Hold on one second, Mr. Chairman. Let me add.
All right, moving on. All right, next up we have Miss Holly Abercrombie. Would you give your report, please?
Well, since I'm feeling a little left out with no update like everybody else, mine just happens to come earlier in November. Had a clean report. Other than that, our budgets look good as we stand right now. No outlying things to alert you to, which is always good.
Very good. We're moving into a big time for you. You've started your reviews and meetings with department heads and ask once and okay.
That budget's due today. To me.
Very good. Do we have any questions for Ms. Abercrombie? Hearing and seeing none. Moving on, Mr. Putnam's not here. We have no unfinished business. The only item of new business that we have is the capital lease proceeds modification. Would you like to take that or Ms.?
We are coming to ask for approval to use the remaining capital lease funds on an additional admin vehicle. So what happened was, we issued the 1.4 million. Everything has been either purchased or encumbered, and we're gonna be left with just a little over 30,000 of capital lease funds. That happens to not be enough to buy a police vehicle, believe it or not. They have gone way up. And so Seth and I were talking, and we know that there was an issue at the cultural center with kind of an outdated vehicle. And so we agreed to possibly move, if y'all approve, move our Tahoe to them. And then we in admin get another small sized, SUV to service as the pool vehicle. It'll be more efficient, approachable, and a good use of the remaining funds. Plus, it takes an item out of the fiscal year 26 CIP budget that was gonna be in there anyway, and allows us to just go ahead and get it this year with leftover
Would you still be looking
funds.
to replace the police car that is not being, because we're not, are we losing a police car or?
No,
Okay,
no.
then never mind. Okay.
Yep, we're just losing we're not really losing it, but the Tahoe is gonna be relocated from the admin pool as is.
Sure. The way I read it was that there wasn't enough to do a police car, so we would
No,
not purchase.
it's just that we can't purchase another police vehicle with the leftover funds because they cost around $70,000 fully upfitted.
Very good.
It's not enough.
Questions from committee? Thank you, Ms. Abercrombie. All right. What do I hear on this item?
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to forward to full council, recommendation to approve the remaining capital lease proceeds funds to purchase an additional admin vehicle, for approximately $30,000.
Thank you, Ms. King.
Second.
Motion and a second. Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Carries unanimous. Forward to full council with recommendation of approval. What Ms. King said. Ms. Miller, thank you.
Save your voice.
Not many people have complained. Okay, next item is going to be public comment. Hearing and seeing none. Committee concerns? Hearing and seeing none. What I hear on adjournment?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. We stand adjourned. It is 7:36. And don't go far because we have a follow-up special called council meeting that Mr. Matney is sure to fly through.
Mr. Steenbeck, would you like to join us now? Please.
Calling special call council meeting to order at 7:36. Everybody's here. Ms. King, I believe you have the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Matney. For those who would like to bow for prayer, please do so at this time. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather tonight and we're so grateful for you. As we enter into our meeting tonight to discuss further business of the city, we ask for your wisdom so that we may make the right decisions as we move forward with our city. We pray all these things in your name. Amen. Please stand for the pledge.
To the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Miller, would you note for the record that everyone is in council chambers except for the mayor, and he is participating remotely this evening? We only have. How you doing, Mayor?
Well, thank you.
Good. We only have one order of business tonight, and that's an executive session item. Do we have a motion to Move into executive session.
Um,
Go ahead, Ms. King.
Thank you. I'll make the motion to move into executive session for consideration of negotiations. Can't read tonight. Incident to propose contractual arrangements and proposed sale or purchase of property as allowed by state statute 30-470A2.
We have a motion for Ms. King. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. We are in executive session at 7:38.
Seth, would you send me the phone number I should call in at?
Nope. We're here.
All right, we're back in open session. Who wants to report out? Ms. King?
I'm just struggling with the mayor pro tem versus mayor. That's why I'm stumbling here. Thank you.
You can refer to me as hey you.
Coming out of executive session, no decisions were made, no votes were taken.
All right, then that leads us to any possible action items as discussed in executive session. Are there any? Mr. Reynolds?
Ms. King.
Oh, Ms. King's got it. You took it.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to authorize the use of the annexation fund to purchase certain real property pursuant to the terms of the purchase and sales agreement executed on December 18th, 2024.
You heard the motion from Ms. King. Is there a second?
Second.
There are multiple seconds. I'll let Ms. Miller decide who that came from. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
If we could, just to confirm that the mayor's on, I think he is, but
Yeah, the better looking one is here.
thank you, Mayor, for reconfirming.
It's the battle. It's the battle of the TMs is what he's referring to. So everybody is back in chambers except for the mayor who is remote, and I'll leave it at that. All right. So hearing no additional discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is approved. Any council requests? And then that just leaves us one more item of business.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes. We are adjourned at 8:24.
Y'all have a good one. See ya.
Thank you, you too. Enjoy your
Good
vacation.
trip, Mayor.
Thanks. Thank you, Taff.